And we are live here from the Wisdom Harbor Studios at the Wharf in Orange Beach, Alabama. It's the Blue Plate Special, and it's a special today. My guest, I think you are just going to love. I love him. Hey, Scott Carley, you're going to really like this show today because I'm going to be talking to two guys who are kind of doing the same stuff to a greater degree than you and Kevin and I did when we were their age. Hey, click that notification button if you haven't already. Click the notification button, click the bell so that you will know when we're live. The Blue Plate Special airs at 12:15 right now, and we don't really know what days of the week it's going to air. But we want to let you know so you have the opportunity to run it. I'm actually going to be out for a couple or 3 weeks having a neck procedure done on this one right here, this neck right here, and it's gonna just put me down for a little bit, but the Blue Plate Special continues on. Jimmy Yeary is going to be live guest hosting in the studio. Sugarcane Jane is going to be live guest hosting in the studio, and we're going to have some special surprises for you too. Ruth Ann Walbridge is great to see you too. Bill Floyd watching from Owensboro, Kentucky. Owensboro, there used to be a big performance place there in Owensboro. Angela Marshall, Tricia Walker, David Lau from Arizona, Peoria, Arizona. I didn't know there was a Peoria, Arizona. So, mouth's not working. Nancy, and happy belated birthday to me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm 83 now. Marcy, good to see you. Alicia Allagood, hey, good to see you. Good to talk to you. Yvonne, thank you very much. And you know what? I can't, you sent me a birthday card and I'm having problems opening it. You know, I'm just like technologically kind of crazy. But Joyce Martin Green, hey. Jeff Jones, hey Jeff, you're down on vacation this week? Man, and I'm fixing to be just like sitting in my bed. Chris Comer, good to see you. Guys, Dean O'Brien says, how about Polly hosting as a guest host? I don't think so. Really? You want to hear that much about me? Really? Oh my gosh. All right. Hey, listen, before we get going, I wanted to remind you, I had a great response last week about the Father's Day gift suggestion. And that was, if you haven't seen it, that is this knife. It is the Traveler. It's from Austin Legacy Knives, and Austin made these from the wood from the table and chair that I wrote the Traveler's Gift on. And so this is they're all handmade. They have the one of one printed on them, but this is a beautiful little folding knife, and it's packaged in it's already ready for you to give to your father. One of a kind thing, has a branded AOK one of one on that. So AustinLegacyKnives.com, and there's the Father's Day gift of choice. Austin has reduced the price for you. These are $99 a piece, packaged, ready to roll. Savannah Lee is watching. Anthony Savannah. Hey, Savannah, I don't know if you know, but the podcast that you guys recorded here in the studio just came out today, and it came out at 3:15 on the West Coast. 3:15. Remember the letter? Did you remember? Did you hear the letter from the three-toed woman? Anyway, look back for that if you haven't. But I just wanted to tell you, Matt and I were listening to that podcast episode, and you guys it sounds so great. So I hope you guys are going to be happy with it. But if you get the professional noticer, if you listen to that, you're going to love it this week with Anthony Savannah. Okay, so before I bring these guys on, I just want to remind you, please share this with your page. if you don't mind. It's a little button off to the right, and you can find it says share, and then you click it, and then it gives you a couple options, and it says share to page. And so if you will share this to your page and tell your friends about the Blue Plate Special, we would really appreciate it. You know, this is Austin. This is my older son. Now, my younger son, Adam, who has just turned 18, he's actually has a birthday that is a day after mine. I'm on May 22nd. He is May 23rd, which means when he was born, I no longer had a birthday. It was like, oh, we'll just celebrate yours and Dad's at the same time, which means Adam really got the birthday. I just got to be there, okay? But he's 18, and Adam, as he began to grow up, I began to see something very different about Adam, and that was, you know, you always want your kids to be passionate about something, but Adam, let's put it this way, Adam likes to fish more than I like anything. I wish I liked anything as much as Adam likes to fish. And unbelievably, a couple of years ago, he connects with a friend who's the same way. I didn't know there were two people on earth that liked to fish as much as I like to fish. And they have created a business that is just fascinating. It is fascinating. I'm going to let them tell you all about it. We've got them here today. GulfCoastNation.com. Please welcome Adam Andrews and Dylan Weir from GulfCoastNation.com. Come on, guys. Come on. Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
Good, good, good. Have a seat. For that, D.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
You guys have a seat. Hey, thanks for taking time out. Because, you know, when I asked you guys to do this, at first you were like, well, we might have a charter. And you do have one today. It's just later today.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you guys, first of all, I'm so proud of you because of what you're doing is so different. And Dylan, tell, if you don't mind, tell what is different about it. If you charter, if you come into town and you want to go fishing, most people would think that you go to a charter boat. Yeah. But what you guys do, you catch bigger fish than I have ever seen a charter boat catch. Yeah. You're less money, it's more fun, no chance of seasickness. Tell us about the experience.
Yeah, so when we created Gulf Coast Nation, we basically, like you talked about earlier, we love fishing, and we basically love taking fishing to the max. So the way we were able to do that was beach shark fishing, land-based shark fishing right from the beach. Adam and I have been doing it for many, many years now, and we wanted to start sharing the experience with our clients. So we're able to take people out on the beach, and you know, you think of your typical family situation where you've got mom, dad, 2-3 kids, and how it normally goes is they all go on the boat together. Mom doesn't like it. Daughter's probably upset by the end of the day. Son might get sick, and dad has fun fishing. And then you come back with 2 snapper. And
that's all you can keep.
Exactly. And it's just
in a month span, the other 11 months.
Yeah, you get a small season. And basically we wanted to set it up so we could take the entire family. I mean, we had a group this week of 16 people out on the beach where mom had fun, cousins had fun, the girls who didn't want to fish had fun. They played beach volleyball, they were throwing the football around. There was 8 boys who wanted to fish, and we got on a big old black tip, and everyone got a turn on the rod. Everybody got to reel, everybody got to fight the fish. There was a 5-foot fish, which was bigger than any of the kids there. There were 12 kids there, and the shark that they caught was bigger than anybody. And it was 6 hours, and nobody had to suffer. And that, no one had to, okay, we'll do this for you because, this is your thing. It was, what we do can be everybody's thing.
Everybody's. Yeah. And it was so funny to me because I was talking to you yesterday, Dylan, and you said that the kids were all kind of small, and so nobody could tackle the thing by themselves. So they all took turns until they wore out, and they all together kind of teamed up on that shark. And
Yeah, exactly. And that's the fun thing too. I mean, you hook into something big offshore, a big snapper, and that big snapper, 20 pounds, and one person gets to catch it, and then somebody may not catch a fish the entire time. I mean, even a 5-foot shark or an 11-foot shark, it's not going to taste. It's not a one-person thing most of the time. So it's a whole experience. And then shark fishing in general. I mean, when you get a shark on the beach, Adam's leadering it, I'm de-hooking it. We have somebody helping us carry the bucket. It's a whole team experience where we get to tag that shark, we release it back in the water, and then you turn around and it's like there's not one person going, I caught that snapper. It's like
it's a team.
It's a team. It's a cool thing, and it's great for a group or a family because it's connective the whole time.
To me, it's what you see when you're seeing the big guys out there with their multi-million-dollar boats and they're fishing for marlin. It's like a team. One person takes credit for it, but without that team, that marlin does not get in that boat.
Exactly.
And you guys being able to team up on this. So Adam, when was it? Because I'm curious about this myself. When was it in your life that you realized this is what I want to do? I like fishing more than I like anything.
I could not tell you. I do not remember, but I knew from the start, always, that's what I wanted to do.
Really?
Yes.
I want to show this. Now this is before Gulf Coast Nation, okay? But see, one of the reasons I love Gulf Coast Nation is because I teach people to do things differently, right? The book Bottom of the Pool is about thinking differently, and so we're trying to do this differently. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, all at the same time, and so what you do is so different. But I also noticed early on, this is before Gulf Coast Nation, I knew Adam was determined to do something different because occasionally we would see certain fish come by the dock or whatever, but Adam would target them, right? And so Polly hollers at me one day and she says, come out quick, Adam's hooked up to a fish and he's on the paddleboard. And I'm like, what? So have we got that video? Matt, I just want you to just see. This is like a 20-second video. I just want you to see what I saw.
How long have you been fighting this thing? 15 minutes.
So there's his brother behind him. Adam's hooked up to the fish. The fish is dragging him all over the place, and Austin is in the back with a gaff. All right. So finally, I say, I'm too far away. I can't see anything. So I get in a little boat and I go out there to watch him because it's a big fish. He's got it for a while, and so I'm watching him. And Dylan, I wish I had the video running. I didn't have the video running. But as they get this fish, they're so excited. And of course, people have stopped all around them. Well, there's these girls that have stopped, and these girls are on jet skis. And I hear these girls go, oh, what a big, look, can we see this fish, all this? And Adam and Austin are like this. And they're trying to hold up the fish, and they fall in with the fish. I mean, they still got the fish. They fall off the paddleboard, holding the reel. Could I see that picture? That's just beautiful to me. I think that is the great, and that's the picture I have. I have that picture up in the hallway in our house. Yeah. And then there's a picture of what he actually had on the line. So if you're on Instagram, you're not going to see these videos. I'm so sorry, but you could go back and look at them on YouTube or some of the others.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
But you showed the picture of the fish, Adam. That's a Jack Crevalle, by the way, and a big one.
Yeah,
a big one. So Adam, how did you two meet? I mean, because I'm always curious. It's like, how do two people with this kind of passion find each other? How in the world?
Well, his roommate in college,
Magic Cooper.
yes, his
Magic,
parents
yeah.
are friends with your parents, and so
With my parents?
with my parents, with y'all.
Okay.
And so they came in town and they were going shark fishing, and they asked me if I wanted to go. I said sure, and we've been fishing together ever since.
That's right.
Good grief.
Kind
And
of.
so what is, I'm curious as to what is the biggest one that y'all have landed?
We got a 12-3 in Mexico Beach.
Can we see a picture of that, Matt?
Giant.
A 12-foot 3-inch, and you're tagging these
Yeah.
for Noah. And so right now, explain what's happening in that picture. It's like you're on the tail rope. You've tagged it.
Yeah.
The pictures from above on the pier.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
because it's funny to me when I show people that picture, they say, "Is that your kid in the water?" But to tag them, tell us what you have to do when you bring them in. What do you have to do to tag these things?
So you get the tail rope on them, you keep them in the wash.
So one of you guys is getting in the water.
Yes,
Yeah. It's a
Yes.
quick process. So it's,
That
yeah.
fish was over 1,000 pounds,
Yeah.
and so
You're
it's
not
not like you're
beaching
going to
that.
lift him up.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's a quick process. It's a 60-second process between being with us and then away from us. So it's a tail rope, hook out, tag in, and release. And we have cameras rolling the whole time. You know, somebody taking pictures on the beach most likely, and basically it's got to be for the health of the shark. You know, back in the water and release. But the tag is a quick process. Adam's actually the one who is the first one. He's always on the tail rope, so he's getting waist all the way up to chest deep to get on the tail of the shark. We have a big carabiner and a clip. It goes around the tail, clips on. Once he has the tail rope on, I'm coming down to help him get it on the beach. We have a de-hooker that pops the hook out in under 5 seconds. And then Adam's always quick on the tag. It's just a long, has a point to it where it sticks in, goes right up underneath the skin. It's not going to affect their swimming any. And then, as soon as the tag's in, it's a turn right back around. And like a shark like that takes 2 people, at a minimum to pull back.
Right.
Even if he's still in the wash, still in waist deep water, it's pulling them back in and then swimming them back out. We want those sharks to swim off right, and sometimes like those big tigers, you swim with them a ways out
Yeah.
there. And,
Wow. So
the-
not only do you guys love to fish, you're kind of stupid. So anyway, Matt, can you show? There's a picture of Dylan and Adam in the wash with a big tiger shark.
Yeah.
And so you guys are turning this thing around, and you have to turn them around because you're keeping them alive.
Yes.
I'm always curious about, showing people this because they're like, that's where I'm swimming. Yes, that's where you're swimming.
Yes.
And they're turning them loose. But you're not chumming or anything.
No.
Those sharks are already there.
For
Yeah.
sure, yeah, for sure. We're not allowed to chum any in Florida, and we don't chum. Basically, it's a big scale catfishing. So you have your baits staggered out anywhere from 100 to 1,000 yards out, and when they swim through that area, that's when you're catching. So
How do you get your baits out? Because
Put
you
'em-
can't show one of the reels. Can you show us one of the reels?
Yeah, we got one of the reels here, so you're not casting this guy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can't cast that, especially with the leaders we use. We use 50-foot leaders, and there's one right there. It's all coiled up right now.
That's a leader.
Yes, sir.
50 foot of 1,200-pound mono, and then doubled up 400-pound wire to a
Big old hook.
big old hook, carbon steel.
Yes, sir.
But yeah,
And so what we do is put the bait in the back of a kayak and paddle it out anywhere from 75 to 1,000 yards, drop it off, come back and fight them from the beach.
yep. Flat days or 4-foot waves.
Yeah.
I've been amazed. Sometimes I've got to say, the night you guys caught the one that was 12 foot 3 inches, over 1,000 pounds. I was in Paducah, Kentucky, and my phone rings at 1:30, and it's Adam at 1:30 in the morning, and it's Adam, and he can't even talk, and it scares me to death. He's like, Daddy, 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 and I was like, Adam, son, hey, is anything wrong? No, sir. No, sir. But it was just, I've never heard anybody that excited in my life. And so, I'm excited for you guys, and then I go over and I watch these guys do this. All right, look what your mother says. That's mom. Mom is commenting. Mom says the mama doesn't want to know some of these details.
Tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm just telling you, Kimberly, Petrucci, hang on just a second, because we want to answer that question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
But I remember the first night I went over to the beach to watch you guys do this, and at that point, I know you guys take turns on who's going out in the kayak, but I remember watching Adam. He was the first one I saw go out. And you guys are doing this at night. And so when you see your kid kayaking a 20-pound chunk of meat straight out into the darkness to where you can't see him, I mean, you're wearing this little red thing on the back of your head. You see this little dot in between the waves. And I know you guys are talking to each other on the radio.
Yeah.
And you're wearing a life jacket.
Yeah.
Taking all the safety precautions. But
Yeah.
I can understand how it's eerie to some.
But it is here. Kimberly Petrucci asked, what is the purpose of tagging them? Tell us who you tag them for and why.
So we tag them for NOAA with the Apex Predator program, and what we do is take the shark, get it up on the beach, and it's a M tag. They make satellite tags, but we use the M tag, so if someone recatches it, then what they'll do is read the number, send it into NOAA, measure it, and see how long it is whenever they caught it, tell them the date, and then that helps determine the migration patterns and how much they grow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We've gotten some recapture reports of, catching a tiger shark in Navarre, Florida, and getting a recapture report a year and a half later in South Carolina. So, I mean, that shark isn't going, obviously, through Key West, so they're making that all the way around Florida and all the way up the East Coast in 8 months, if that tells you.
Wow.
And so that's some data that, NOAA can get and use, and there's a bunch of people who are doing that program, and it's really cool.
And NOAA tracks, NOAA is obviously, this is the National Oceanic Atmospheric Association. And so, the migration patterns are very important because you're not talking about a fish that necessarily schools tightly.
Yeah.
And they are creatures of food and temperature.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
I remember years ago, Todd Rainsberger and I were out, and I know I've probably told you guys this story about 100 times. Yeah, Todd and I were out one time, and we had what, we were absolutely sure was a great white that had chopped a tuna in half. Todd had this huge tuna, and you think about your waist, how big your waist is. In one bite, where the shark bit this tuna in half, it was 42 inches around, right? It's one bite. And so the biologist later told us, we get back and he looks at the bite marks, measures all this stuff, and he says, well, it's between 1,700 and 2,300 pounds, and it probably was a great white, and we were like, why such a difference in weight? And they said, well, he gained 100 pounds with one bite, right? And so I said, oh yeah, okay.
Just like that.
And we said, so seriously, we didn't know there were great whites in the Gulf. And I never will forget what he said. He said, son, it's all temperature and food. There ain't no nets out there. They're just following the temperature, following the food.
Yeah.
Dan Stone says kayaking bait out hundreds of yards in the dark is scary. And Dan knows, doesn't he?
Yeah, so that was before Mom let me do it at night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he came out there with me one night and he had to do it at night.
Dan had to do it. Okay, so Dylan wasn't there,
No, so
Yeah.
and that was before Mama would let you do it.
or kind of, yeah, so
Approved of it.
You were about to say, I think, that was before Mama knew you were doing it. Is that what you're about to say?
She asked for less.
well, that was after she knew because that's when I wasn't able to do it.
Oh, so she put a stop to
Right.
it,
She
is
found
what you're
out.
saying.
She found out.
So what kind of rods are you guys using for this? Show me your...
Yeah, so this is a, here, let's see. I'll grab one real quick. Let me pop up and bring a more movable one here. So these are all detachable. Let's take that at them.
To me, these things look like pool cues.
Yeah, that's what
They are so thick.
These are a steadfast rod blank. So this is a Texas-made rod, and these rods are not something you're gonna find at Dick's or Academy. So we get the blank from some guys in Texas.
And when you're talking about a blank, it's nothing but this part.
Yeah, just
all the way.
just the black. No guides, no color, no grips, no end piece, nothing like that. And we get the blank from Steadfast Rods, and then we have a builder who basically just builds these rods out custom, which is taking a very small piece of thread and turning this rod hand revolutions and wrapping this entire thing. You know, you like to customize it. We got our name on here. We like to name the reels after they break the 10-foot mark. They're not allowed to have a name if they haven't caught a 10-foot shark yet. So,
Wow.
And then yeah, this is a 9-foot rod, and it's basically an 80 unlimited blank. So they are like pool cues, and they have a good flex to them. But you know, hooked up to a 1,000-pound fish, you've got to be able to move some weight.
Show me what a good flex is.
So I put a little bit of weight to it here.
Yeah. So this is not your average brim rod. Hey,
No.
before we move on, have you got the video of an 11-foot tiger shark that they caught?
Yes.
Can you find that one?
For
You
Instagram.
guys do a video every single week on YouTube.
Yes,
You have a
every
YouTube channel, Gulf Coast Nation.
Yep.
Subscribe to that channel. Are you ready?
Ready.
Roll it. Do you remember who the client was?
Yep, it was Miss Karen Berry. They were from Oklahoma or Arkansas, sorry, and they had come. We had
But, you
talked.
know, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Okay.
I didn't say it, Miss Karen. But no, it was a great group. It was two guys who were actually, they were like weightlifters, like they were, you know, big into being big and strong powerlifting, and it couldn't have been a better group because it took 3 people to change off, and it was like, you know, they got in the harness, and they were fighting it, and they're like, you know, I'm gonna get this shark, and it was like, what, 5 minutes, and he's like, I'm gonna need to switch, like my legs are about to give out on me. So
It's amazing to me. I mean, because these guys obviously in shape, lift weights.
Yeah.
This is the force
oh, it's amazing.
is
It's
just
amazing.
is just amazing. Now, before we move on, and here's let's see, Joyce Martin Green asked, how much does the reel weigh? How much does this?
I would say right between
A lot.
30, 25 and 30 pounds.
It's,
And that's just the reel, so the rods weigh a couple pounds as well. But yeah, the reels are very bulky, and when we fight, you know, we don't hold these reels. If you guys have ever seen Wicked Tuna, there's a harness, and you are strapped to the reel.
Next time you
using your
come, you're
body
gonna
weight.
have to bring that.
Yeah, I should
to
brought
show
the
that.
harness. Yeah.
But it's some. I mean, I've got pictures of you and Adam out in our driveway testing these things up,
Yeah.
where you hook it to the bumper, you know, to the trailer hitch of a car, and you're leaning back, literally leaning back, even with
Yeah.
the ground, holding these things and just
Yeah.
and checking. And so, hey, before moving on, there was one night, and I think this is a clip of, there was one, this doesn't happen all the time, obviously, but there's
Yeah.
one night you guys got 6 tiger sharks in one night.
yes,
Yeah.
And there was, at one point, you had 3 of them on at the same time,
At once.
right?
Sir.
Have we got that clip, Matt?
We are crippled up. Where we at? We are crippled up. Look at this. 1.
Hey, no. Hey, sir.
These are 3 sharks, son. These are 3 separate fish.
That is just so great to me.
It was, yes.
That is just, it's just, and y'all ended up catching 6 tigers that night.
Yeah, 6
What was the
tiger
biggest
sharks.
one that night? Do you remember?
It was 9-3 to the fork. It didn't have a tail. It
Had
would have been.
No tail. Would have been at least 12 foot if it had a tail. It was 9'3" to the fork with no tail. No, it
Yes,
had a
sir.
nub.
What? So somebody else was meaner than a 9-foot shark.
Right.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
something already taking a chunk out of it. So
Good
That's it.
grief.
kind of explains
So
the.
let's see. Somebody asked, it was Patricia Clapp, Jan Ritter, Anthony Crawford. There's Sugarcane Jane saying that was incredible. Lisa Oldham wants to know. It says sounds like a ton of family fun. What do you charge? What comes with the thing? And I know you do a 6-hour. You do a 12-hour.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I send this trip information out all the time. I love the response we get. But basically, how we set these trips up is so when you guys come to the beach, no one likes lugging gear. No one likes lugging gear, especially through our very beautiful soft sand. So Adam and I bring chairs, bait, grill, gear. We supply all the soft drinks. So we have you guys take a survey and we'll bring out Cokes, Sprites, Dr. Pepper's, waters if that's what you want. We supply music. All you have to do is take the free shark fishing permit and get a fishing license. And then if you guys, any alcoholic beverages, cannot supply that. And then a group rate of 1 to 10 people for a 6-hour trip. It is $750, and for a 12-hour trip, it is $1,300. And in the beautiful winter months down here, when we have very calm, flat north winds, we do a true grit 42-hour shark fishing trip, which is basically set up to be all weekend. You get there on a Friday, and you don't leave till Sunday morning. And we supply canopy, tents, all that kind of stuff. So basically, we just try to set it up to where you guys walk down. If your trip is from 6 p.m. to midnight, you walk down at 6 o'clock. We've been there for 3 hours. We're already set up, baits out, and then at midnight, all the rods out. You're waiting 11:59. Okay, we've caught a couple sharks. It's midnight. I'm tired. Kids are tired. You guys walk right back up to the parking lot. We walk back up, make sure your car starts, all that good stuff. You guys head home. Don't think a thing about it. And Adam and I come back down, spend the next couple hours packing up the beach, cleaning up any trash, making sure we leave, we pack in and pack out clean.
Right.
And then get ready to do it the next night. So.
One of the things that I think is cool is obviously, I think it's cool that you guys are setting everything up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when people get there, you already have lines out so that if there could be action like immediately.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
But you also you leave one back so that they get to see, they get to experience the kayaking. But if if they had to be there for all the kayaking out
gosh.
and in and out, that's an hour and a half.
Yeah,
worth
if we
of
got
work.
there at 6, you wouldn't start till 9. So
Yeah. So,
takes a
so
while.
I think that's great because they get to experience every single part of it,
Yeah.
and also it's a once in a lifetime trip.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. She's your mom here. See what your mom said?
Yes.
Just tell Adam to smile occasionally. So just occasionally.
Yes.
smile.
Just every
Yes,
once in a
every
while. if you don't
Okay,
mind.
yeah. So, but Mom, Adam is like dead serious about this. I'm just telling you, he's dead serious.
No
Let
smiling.
me ask. Here's a curious question. I already know the answer, but I think this is a good one. What is the biggest disappointment
Oh,
that you guys have had out there? Because you were out because you were out alone. Now, let me just tell you this. This is kind of funny to me. These guys do this. Last week, they were booked every night. And so you would think, okay, we'll take her. You know what they do when they're not booked? They go fishing, right? Now, a lot of times they have to go in the boat. They use the boat and they catch bait. And, because you got to catch 20-pound baits. But it's amazing to see. So you guys were out there by yourselves one night, and it was in the winter,
Yep.
Yes.
and which is not horrible here.
Yeah.
But tell us about the biggest disappointment. You see them? You said they're both
Tell
gone.
you. I'm not talking about it. Go
And
ahead.
try to
So-
smile while you're talking about this.
This is gonna be hard to smile. So we were out there, getting all the baits set. We had one way out there, and a smaller sandbar shark picked up on this reel, and so he was in the harness, and it was about to set the hook, and then it dropped it, and then the reel to our left started going off. I got to it, and there was a smaller bait, so I set the hook immediately. Then it started jumping. It was nighttime, but you could feel it jumping. It'd go really, really slack, and then it'd hit the water and just shoot off.
So you knew
that it was a Mako.
Mako shark, 110%. Yeah.
And then
That's the golden ticket for the wintertime. That's the one shark you chase. And yeah, it was get me in the harness as quick as we could. And from right then it was game time focus. We both knew, all right, we've got the Mako on the hook. We've done it to this far. Now let's close it out. And we were doing everything we could. The bait was about 850 yards out there. On the first few runs, it took about 250 yards.
Austin and I were at the camp, and so I get this text. It's from Adam, and it says, "Dad," I remember it was 10:30 at night, and it's, "Dad, we're hooked up to a monster." Well, I mean, they'll catch 7, 8, 9 foot fish and won't even say anything about it. So we're hooked up to a monster. We're like, oh my gosh, all right. And so keep going.
Yeah.
And so Mom had just left the beach. She was sitting out there with us for a little while. So I called her back, told her, come out, come
Please.
back right now. And so about the time she got there, and he was jumping all the
The whole time.
time.
Fast runs. I mean, we
Just-
run, these reels put out, like a kingfish reel, 10, 15 pounds of drag is good for them, These reels put out 65 pounds of drag.
Now explain what that means.
So there's big cams, and this lever basically is what engages the reel or de-engages the reel, kind of like a star drag. As you tighten it, this is that tightening of the drag. And
Explain what a drag is.
Yeah, so
a lot of
there's-
people don't know what a drag is.
Yeah, so there's two basically big side plates that push against the spool. The more you push this forward, the harder it squeezes the spool. It'd be like if I didn't want this pin to squeeze, it squeezes the pin so it doesn't rotate.
Is that line? Is there some line where we pull off?
Yeah.
All right, so watch this. So undo that. All right, so this is a very loose drag,
Yep, so that's as
right?
we eat.
Very loose.
I'll
Now, as he
engage it a little
tightens
bit.
it, I can still pull it, but it's harder to pull, right? Right. Now, what that is for, that is why when you hear somebody caught a 100-pound fish on 6-pound line, it's because the line is easing out at about a weight of about 3 or 4 pounds. And so, what pound test do you have on that reel?
This is
200.
yeah, 200 pounds.
That's 200-pound test line, and so at about 65 or 70 pounds,
Yeah.
it'll slip. It'll go out. So when you talk about a shark making a big run,
Yeah,
it's
pulling
like
drags.
woo, just going. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
nuts. Okay, so continue with your story.
Yeah, and so, I mean, on that kind of note there, I'm only 170 pounds soaking wet, so I'm not holding 65 pounds of drag. So I've got Adam holding me on the harness. which is
Okay,
attached
so let's
to the
stop
reel.
right there, and can we see a little video of that? You want to talk about a fish? I want you to see the force on this. Just an 11-second video.
Oh my God. Ah! Stop!
That's a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
And so you know you have the monster of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it did not slow him down one bit.
Could not stop him. Couldn't turn him at all. It was awesome, and I was ready to sit in for an hour and a half long fight because a Mako you can harvest. So we were gonna in it for the long haul, and then about 15-20 minutes into the fight, he had turned and made another one of his I'm gonna go to Cuba style runs, and running hard. He went double time fast, and then the line snapped, rod laid right across my head. I ended up back in the sand, and it was just like, if you see the video, we had the full video on our YouTube channel, and if you watch the video in that moment, the waves are going, you could have heard a pin drop in the sand. It was just like, no one said a word.
It was like the worst possible
Yeah.
feeling.
It's being
Ever.
punched in the gut, yeah, just like high to a very low.
Well,
It sucked.
I was out of town when that happened, and obviously we were up at the camp,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't get anything back, and so I called you guys,
Yeah.
and and so Adam said, Dad, you know, and what you guys figured happened was another shark came along
Yeah.
and, you know, ran mouth
Right.
first into the line
Yeah.
because there's nothing out there to cut it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And so that happens occasionally. And of course, it only happens on the biggest fish.
Oh,
That's the
yeah,
only
yeah,
way it ever
exactly,
happens.
yeah.
And so, but I remember getting home the next day, and Polly says, she says, you know, I got there and they had just lost it. She said, and Dylan was sitting in the sand, not moving, and Adam was just like walking back and forth and walking. It's like they were both in a daze. And I said, well, dear, I said, I'm just, you know, I kind of get that. And so next day I get home and Mom says, she says, you know, Adam's still upset about that. And I said, well, yeah, I know. And she said, well, you know, he'll get over it. I said, you know,
No, I won't.
well,
I'll let you know when that happens.
And I remember when you came home from school that day, I said, hey, buddy, come here. I'll talk to you just a second. He said, yes, sir. And I said, I just want to tell you, you remember the 12-pound speckled trout that I had on the line that went under the state pier and was flopping on top of the water on the other side? And I knew the only way I can do is if I can get this thing back through without hitting me, and I could. And the other one was Uncle Kevin and I had a cobia on the line that at the time would have been a world record. It was over 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And fought that thing for an hour and 45 minutes and lost it at the boat. And I said, Adam, that was like 40 years ago. I still think about that cobia. I said, so just know, even though you won't get over this, at least I know how you feel.
Yeah.
And Adam goes, well, thank you, Dad.
Supportive words.
Oh my gosh. So, hey, there's Judson. It's,
Yeah,
you
so-
know, Mr. Father's Day right there. Hey, back up. There was a question that I saw. Yeah, somebody said that's no zip code. Yeah, it's G. McDonald asking about your baits. Tell them about what you
Yeah,
do to
so-
get your baits and your typical baits that you use, how much they weigh, how big they are. Just
So for our smaller baits, what we'll do a lot of times is take a little piece of ray or a small mullet or a Spanish mackerel and put it out.
Yeah.
But for our big baits, it could be anything from a big old 15-pound jackhead all the way to a 30-pound stingray.
That's right. Yeah, it's just like any other fishing. You know, you want to try and diversify your bait. So we try to get, you know, when we go out in the boat, we try to maximize our time getting barracuda. We use amberjack heads after we've cleaned them, kingfish heads after we've cleaned them. Bonita are really good bait, and cow nose rays, stingrays are our favorite. One of our favorite baits, and you just gotta plan out your bait days and spend some time on the water. And that's another good thing about, you know, the ease of these trips we do. You know, we probably spend upwards of 12 to 20 hours, you know, getting bait. For last week alone, we probably used, you know, what would have been 12 to 20 hours worth of bait, you know. And so all this work that goes into it is just as simple as walk in and walk out. But yeah, big cow nose and stuff like that.
You know, it's interesting to me that and I just happened to think of this as we were sitting here, that as crazy as this sounds, right? I mean, as crazy as this kind of sounds doing this, you guys are very, very, I mean, none of your clients have ever even been close to, I mean, and you guys have not been close to being in danger on the beach. You've got this figured, you're doing with every regulation, you're doing with every, I mean, you're very, very safe. The only times that I have seen things that I was like, are you kidding me? Is like when you guys are getting bait. When it's just Adam and Dylan together.
Yeah,
now,
no clients.
one thing I want to mention, and Darlene Hammond asks, do you ever use a drone for spotting? I don't know if you use a drone for spotting, but you use a drone, you have a great drone that
Yeah.
you guys use
for video.
for video.
Yeah, it enhances our videos a lot. It gives us good. It does give our viewers a lot different perspective, which is always cool. And we do use them occasionally for spotting stingrays
Right.
and stuff like
And
that.
when, yeah, spotting stingrays and stuff.
Yeah,
And
but
so,
yeah.
but it's amazing to me too that the clients that you guys have, you talk about going back with a great souvenir to have
my
all that
gosh.
video and
Yeah.
everything. And I wanted, before I say something about the crazy stuff getting bait, I do want to mention, you mentioned that, that long winter, the weekend charter that you do.
Yeah.
There was one, and if you'll just tell just about this a little bit, I just thought this was fascinating, that two families brought down two young men that had Down syndrome. And so Adam and Dylan fished these guys, these young men. And that was a weekend,
Yeah,
right?
it was a full weekend,
And,
yeah.
and so tell what happened at the night. They both got a nighttime one, but then in the daytime. But just tell a
yeah.
little bit about that.
So they got there. We had all our stuff set up, and they got to the beach.
It was a Friday, yeah.
Yeah, and that night was it 2 or 3 sandbar sharks?
2 sharks.
2 sandbar sharks.
They
And
each got one, right?
Yeah, each
Yeah,
got
so-
their own
yeah.
own shark. Yeah, it was
it was awesome. And
a good start.
then
How big were these? Like 5?
They were right at 7.5 feet both.
7.5 feet
Big
each.
sand-
Back to
bars.
back too. Yeah, it was
Yeah, so-
awesome.
and so the next day they got there. What time do you think they got there?
Yeah, they had gotten there right at about 11:30, and we had stayed all night.
Because they wanted to sleep
yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, they wanted to go back to their hotels and enjoy some. So we
Yeah,
stayed
so-
out. And we kept the baits fresh and kept the camp going. You know.
And then a little bit after they got there, the reel started going off, and we set the hook, and it was like a 10-4
It was 10'4". Yeah. Yep.
tiger shark
Yep.
in the daytime.
Middle
And
of the day.
And
Yep.
they teamed on that.
They
Yeah,
had
so-
to, they had
yeah.
to tag team it. Left it in the rod holder, and it was one of those like he was playing with the bait, and so we thought, oh, it's gonna be 6-7 foot, and it was that moment. We set the hook, pull the drag, the reel tight, everything come tight, and that rod, like we were bending earlier, it doesn't bend easy,
Yeah.
just doubled over, and I was like, this is a really heavy fish, and they did. They tag team it, they got back and forth on it, and we got it to the beach quick. It was awesome.
I don't know if this is a question you want me to ask, but I am curious. And I know the answer to this, but the first time I saw how you were doing what you're doing, I was not seeing you hooked up. I wasn't
Yeah.
seeing your procedure, but I was seeing you holding the stuff. What's to keep one of those suckers from just dragging somebody out?
Yeah,
He generally stands in front and
rod over the
always
shoulder.
have a knife just in case.
Yep, rod over the shoulder.
But like if I'm standing there, if I'm strapped in and I'm holding it, and the water's there and the shark is out there, you're in front of me.
Yep.
With you're holding on to it and you're allowing the rod on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so there's no
aren't going.
no chance at all that you would go in because we wouldn't, one of us, and that's the beauty of why we do it with two people, is it's obviously a team sport, but it's I can always be with the client helping them get stuff ready, and Adam's getting tags ready.
And it's
cameras on, all
also
that good stuff.
the drag on the reel.
Yeah,
because the
yeah.
drag on the reel, it's letting the line go out. It's not like you have to hold on to that much fish
Yeah,
because
he
the
gets
line's.
he gets to go. Yeah, if he's wanting to go hard enough, he gets to go. So yeah, it's all under control. Yeah, definitely nobody's leaving the sand.
Okay. Now, speaking of under control, there's the last couple of things that I want to get to. There's the last couple of things.
Sounds
Then
good.
we're gonna let everybody go. But speaking of being under control, I have a sneaking suspicion you're not as under control when you're by yourselves and you're getting bait. Because I remember the first time seeing, you showed me the video. You said, look what Adam did. And I'm like, oh my, because you had a big ray, a big stingray
huge.
on the line. It
Like
was
about the
it was
size of the
size
table,
of the
yeah.
table.
Yeah.
And just explain what, I wish we had that video. We'll have to show that to you sometime.
So when we go out and get bait, there's a few ways we get bait, but stingrays, we like to we hook up to them in the shallow water, and so we'll use the boat to sight fish them and stuff like that, and we hook up to them, And to get them in the boat and also put them out of their misery quick, we use a gaff. So gaff them into the cooler and then they're done. And stingrays, those big southerns, they like to suction cup to the bottom.
Right.
And so I had this stingray right next to the boat.
And he's big as the table, man.
Huge. And Adam couldn't, he can't stick the gaff into the bottom to get up underneath him. So he's sucking to the sand. And what I'm trying to do is hold the reel tight and just get a lip of him up so Adam can get the gaff underneath. And we've been doing this for a couple minutes. And so I was just pulling, probably a little bit too hard and popped the line off. So when I pop the line off, we're only in a foot and a half of water. And we can see him just swim off. And both of our reactions were the exact same because I was saying, get him, get him, get him. And Adam, without hesitation, like a Labrador retriever after a ball, jumped 2 feet right off the boat with the gaff, free gaffed the ray. Free gaff, he didn't have a hook in him anymore. He was not under our control. Jumped right on top of him, gaffed him, kept him away from him, and brought him back to the boat. Sorry, Miss Polly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
They
I saw
weren't too happy with me on that one.
Adam was like, just like all fours, it's like, like that. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But I also understand heat of the moment,
Yeah, it's like reaction in the moment.
And
ESPN Top 10.
And Ray McDonald asked, do you eat what you catch? Well, you don't eat what you release.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And if it doesn't go to shark bait and we don't release it, then we definitely eat it.
Oh,
yeah.
We eat a lot of fish.
So we eat a lot of fish. What we catch on the boat, and what's good shark bait, stingray and stuff like that, we'll keep and freeze. But definitely, nothing goes to waste there. And then with our clients, we also serve fish and stuff like that while we're waiting. So catch pompano, whiting, redfish, we use our Austin Legacy knife. Love that fillet knife. And you clean it right there. We bag it, and you can take fresh fish home.
Yeah,
So,
and because you guys are also fishing for small fish.
Yeah.
And I know that the other day you guys had a client that y'all caught pompano.
Yeah.
And grilled them and filleted them, grilled them right there for everybody.
Right there on the beach. Yep.
Yeah.
Got some seasoning on them and enjoyed some fresh fish before the sun was even down.
There was
Yeah.
a bull shark that a client got the other night, and I haven't talked to you about this, but Adam came home and said that guy was happier. It was a kid and his parents, and he said that guy was happier about that fish than I've ever seen anybody in my life.
Yeah, he was. He is like Mr. Chase. He does our T-shirt designs and stuff like that. So
Okay.
we've been working close with their family, and this kid is very intelligent on sharks, and he lives in Oklahoma. So you can imagine he gets to know about him, but he doesn't get to deal with them, you
Sure.
know. And so this was the first time he's got his hands on one, the bull shark. He got to take a picture with it, and then we got to release it. And yeah, he was like cloud nine, like. He was just, the rest of the night went by like 3 hours, it's caught earlier in the night and like 3 hours. We were just talking the whole time about it, looking at pictures and reviewing the video, and it was cool.
Was it
cool.
last night, or is it coming up that you guys have somebody from Colorado?
It was 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago.
Sunday
okay.
night, yeah.
All right, one more crazy Adam story. And you can also see this video too, but I am just amazed. And I would like Dylan to tell this story because this happened so fast. They're standing next to each other. This happened so fast that Dylan couldn't even grab him, even though you're saying. So tell about gaffing the barracuda.
Yeah, so we're 30 miles offshore.
And you're really fishing to catch bait. And
Yeah. So we were jigging and doing stuff like that for catching bait, and we had some amberjack come up in half and pieces and cut up. And so we knew where there were either some sharks or barracuda down there, and barracuda is excellent shark bait. So when given the opportunity, you want to get your hands on barracuda. They're an unregulated species, so you can keep a bunch of them. And we had this amberjack come up in pieces. And Adam, in the video, you can hear him say, drop it back down, drop it back down. I can get this. So Adam, feeling very balanced, stands up.
I don't know how balanced this
So
sounds to me.
the
But
boat is, there's a gunnel on the boat you can stand in. It's, you're protected inside the boat. There's a little wall. Well, Adam decides that on this, this wide, he's going to stand on top of the gunnel.
yeah, that sounds very smart.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it makes sense.
I had to
Shh,
see.
I'm telling the story. And anyways, he's watching this barracuda, and you can see this thing is huge. It was big, around 40-pound barracuda come up real slow on this bait. He's watching it. He's nosing it. And he gets there, and, I'm thinking, well, this is what we wanted, right? He's right here. You got the free gaff. And, he's standing from me to you, and I'm watching, and I didn't think to tell him to make, Adam, please stay in the boat. And so he's standing on the edge, gaffs the barracuda, and when he puts the gaff into it, obviously the fish isn't happy. He takes that big old tail, one whoosh of the tail, and Adam is in the water with a sweatshirt on, shorts, everything, completely dressed, and he was pulled in the water in 2 seconds flat. And the fish freaked out, took off, pulled the gaff, and he was gone in just a couple of seconds, just like that. And it was like that moment, everything plays in slow motion. He hit the water, and I was like, no, Adam, come back.
Yeah, you couldn't. It happens. I mean, to see it happens so fast that you couldn't go.
No, you couldn't grab him. Now, when we go to get those things, and if he's standing on the side, it's like I'm hugging him. Okay, go, buddy. I got you.
Good, good. Here's who. Back that up, Matt. Somebody said. Peggy Dearman says, I had the opportunity to see these guys in action last summer. It was so exciting and an amazing adrenaline rush, and she was not even fishing. Hey, you guys, listen. Y'all had what? Was it 14 states that you had clients
last year alone
that drove from 14 states to fish with these guys. And I would urge you to go on GulfCoastNation.com and book your trip. Get your trip booked, because these guys are getting booked up, and this is going to be a great, great year.
Yes.
And so, I mean, you're already having great success. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
Dylan, thank you for taking care of our baby.
I'll keep Miss Polly. I'll keep him safe as much as I can.
I just love watching you guys, love the enthusiasm, love the care that you take with your clients, and just very proud of both of y'all.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank y'all for being with us. You guys, I won't be seeing you for a little while, but we're going to have some guest hosts. I'm again having a neck procedure tomorrow. Appreciate your thoughts and prayers. And then I know that Sugarcane Jane is going to host a couple of shows, and Jimmy Geary is going to host a couple of shows. Everybody's actually going to be in the studio, and so that's going to be awesome. Yeah. But I think that's it. Your Father's Day gift from Austin Legacy Knives. You give your family a big fishing trip. This is going to be great. Thank you guys, and I'll see you soon.
That's right. Thanks.